are present. Our item on the agenda is the 2021 City of West Dallas Mayor's Recommended Budget. And anyone want to open a discussion? Want to move to approve the budget? We have some amendments.
I'd like to
Tom,
make
go
an
ahead.
amendment,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Chair. And I think Rebecca has distributed copies. I'd like to move on amendment number 1 that the recommended budget recommends that calls for a NICE department, and I would ask that the full-time employees' funding and responsibilities of the Neighborhood Improvement and Community Engagement NICE program are moved to Planning and Zoning program instead of creating the NICE program. Funding is currently outlined in the Planning and Zoning. Full-time employees are Community Development Senior Planner, like the previous Community Development Supervisor position, replaces the proposed Community Engagement and Block Grant Administrator in the recommended budget. And we'd have a Neighborhood Services Specialist and a Housing Rehabilitation Specialist. I would move for that amendment.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion on the amendment?
Just to clarify, the Community Engagement Black Grant Administrator would now be called the Community Development Senior Planner?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Grill?
Yeah, that's correct, and I just wanted to make sure that there's an understanding with the budget effect. It's, the position would be downgraded from that administrator position
Uh-huh.
to the senior planner position, so there's possibly a cost savings.
Perfect.
there.
That's all I have. I'm in support of.
Yeah, any further discussion on the amendment?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel?
and would this amendment change the reporting responsibilities? Or would it still,
Yep.
would this, so this would not be reporting directly to the city administrator, it'd be reporting to
Planning
development?
Director.
Yes. Okay. Planning.
Planning Director is
Planning.
Patrick Schloss.
Planning.
No,
Planning is
Steve
Steve
Scherer.
Scherer. Yeah,
Steve Scherer.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I shouldn't point, that was me. Sorry, Patrick. Okay. Any further discussion on the amendment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So amendment number 1 is agreed to. And then amendment number 2 is an amendment which I'll bring forward. I'll move amendment number 2. Essentially, of course, the proposed budget was to move housing into the health department. I think there's a lot of recognition that the health department is just is going crazy, has too much going on with COVID right now. And so it would keep it would keep housing in the planning and zoning. And so I move for that amendment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel?
So are you suggesting that this would just be a temporary? Obviously, nobody knows when we're going to be through this COVID situation. So we're going to revisit this in 6 months or 9 months or the next budget?
Yeah, my thought is that's up to the mayor and Ms. Grill to see what their next budget, the mayor's next budget proposal is. It could change any year.
Yes.
That's correct.
And I see the health commissioner is here, and when he spoke about this original change previously, it sounded like he was in favor of it. No? Did I misunderstand?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, in favor of the move.
The integration of the housing into the holistic housing's relation to health, I understand that, yeah, and I support that, yeah.
Yeah, but it is what it is at this point. Chair is absolutely correct. I mean, we are swamped with COVID right now. The unfortunate reality is we don't know what the timeline is associated with that. So timing-wise, I understand, kind of where the proposed amendment is moving.
So you understand and support it?
That what?
You support the amendment also?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, at this
Yeah,
point, I
okay.
think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion on amendment number 2?
Yeah, I'd support this amendment also, but I do think like in the future, like housing is a strong determinant of public health. So once we get through this pandemic, I would support moving housing into the health department.
I agree. It's a bridge we should cross, but at the same time, with him being inundated with COVID and everything else, and having to learn that new role and the impact that HUD and the regulations, it's a lot to take on, I feel, during a pandemic, that it's the right move to keep it where it's at. And
Okay. Get any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Are there any other proposed amendments to the budget?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Grill?
I did have a request from the planning manager that the position, the zoning inspector and city process liaison position, if it could be retitled to zoning administrator and city process liaison.
How do you feel about that? Or is-
That's originally what I had, but it's not, I think people, administrator gives certain connotations, it's not like a high level, it's administering the zoning code, and so it's a specific administration. So I don't have a problem with it, but I just wanted to bring that up, because I know people do have concerns about administrator words.
Is there a motion to bring the amendment as suggested by Ms. Grill?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of amendment number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Any other amendments or budget issues or budget concerns?
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the budget as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the budget as a whole, as amended? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anything else to properly come before the committee? And in 8 minutes, we can stay here a little bit longer, or have an 8-minute meeting before we adjourn. No, can I have a motion to adjourn?
so
So
move.
moved.
All in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.